Today I'm going to be working on my Trident maple. I got this tree in the fall of 2022, and today I'm just going to be making the tree more compact, trying to get more taper and movement to my branches, as well as add ramification. So I'll go ahead and start with these two lowest branches. And they are growing from the same spot, so in the future I probably will choose one and prune away the other. So with this branch right here, I would like it to divide from 1 to 2 sooner than it does. But for now, I'm just going to take each of these back. So right here I have 3 branches growing from one spot. And these 2 branches right here continue the flow of this branch really nicely. So I think I'm going to remove this back branch. And then for these 2, I'll just shorten them. So I have a set of buds here and here. So I'll prune right there, leaving 2 sets of buds on each branch. On this one I have a set right here and right here, so I'll prune to here. Now moving on to this branch. This branch comes up, divides into 2. And this branch grows quite vertical, and I want all my branches to be flowing outward, so I'll go ahead and remove this one. And then this bud right here will be growing back in the direction of the tree, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that. So that has these 2 lower branches pruned up for now. Now moving on up the tree, I have this little branch right here, and it's kind of a bar branch to this branch right here. I think I'll leave this branch alone for now until I can make a decision on it. So moving on up the trunk line, I have this branch now. And this branch divides into 2 right here, and this branch kind of grows on top of this one. So I think I'm going to remove this one. And from the front, this branch does block the trunk, but I kind of don't mind it too much. I could prune this part away and keep this part that comes outwards towards the left a little bit more. This branch does have nice flowing lines to it, so I probably will choose to remove this branch. Now moving on up the branch, it divides into 2 right here. And I have a lot of branches coming from one spot right here. And I think I'm going to get rid of these 2 branches on the right that are growing in front of the tree. Leaving these 2 branches growing outward in this direction. Now moving on to this one right here. It's definitely too long and too straight and doesn't have much taper. There's a set of buds here, here, and here. I think I'll prune it back, leaving those 3 sets of buds. Now moving on up the trunk line, I have this branch coming out the back. And I think it's getting too long, not much movement or taper. I don't want this straight vertical growth. I'll go ahead and remove that. And then this little branch shoots upward and outward pretty good, so I think that would be some good movement to the branch, so I'll go ahead and prune it back to that. This branch is too long and straight. I have some buds here and at the base, so I'll go ahead and prune this shorter. Now moving up the trunk line, I have this dead branch that I turned into dead wood. That will definitely get removed in the future, but for now I'm just going to leave it. I have this little branch right here. I think I'll keep it for now. It's not doing anything wrong. Then now moving on up in the apex, I have this branch. I like this branch. I'm just gonna shorten this branch a little bit. I have a set of buds right here where it will divide, so I'll shorten it to there. And then I'll also shorten this one to here, getting the tree more compact. Now moving on to this branch over here, it's starting to grow over top of this other trunk line, so I want to shorten it so this trunk line can get some light to it. I do have a bud down here, so I'll prune back to there. And then I have buds here and here, so I'll prune back to there. Now moving on to this back branch right here. It's getting pretty long for being in the apex, and it doesn't have any ramification on it, so I'll go ahead and prune this shorter. I have a lot of buds down here at the base, so I'll just prune back to here. This branch, once again, is pretty long. No ramifications, so I'll just prune this back to the first set of 2 buds. And this branch up here is starting to get real vigorous and thickening up, so I'm going to want to take some vigor out of that so it doesn't get too thick. So I'll just go through and shorten all of these, leaving 2 sets of buds on each branch. From the front view, I don't like how this branch is crossing the trunk line, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that. I want to keep all my branches growing outward. And then this little branch, there's no ramifications, so I'll just go ahead and prune the tip off of that. And I will prune back that branch. So that pretty much has this main trunk line all pruned up. Now I will move on to this trunk line. I'm not a big fan of how this branch crosses behind this trunk line, but I don't really have anything else growing in this area, so I think I'll keep it. This branch right here where it divides starts curling around and growing, not in a very outward radial direction. So I'll prune it shorter, hoping to get some to redirect the branch. This branch is kind of long without much taper, so I think I'm going to shorten it. And I think I'll shorten it to this branch right here. So taking this long straight section, taking it back to here will give it some movement and taper. So I'll go ahead and do that. And then I'll prune this back to 2 sets of buds. I have a set of buds right here and here, so I'll prune the tip off of there. And this one I have a set of buds here and here, so I'll prune off to there. Now moving on up the trunk line, I have this back branch. This back branch divides into two right here. And this branch right here is pretty vertical, so I'll go ahead and remove that. This branch is dead, I'll remove that. This branch is starting to get pretty long and straight in this section, so I think I'm going to remove it back down to this branch. Just getting more movement and taper to that branch as well. Now I'm going to look at it from the front. So this part of the branch crosses behind the trunk, and I don't like how that looks, so I think I'm going to remove this part entirely. And then I have a branch at the base I don't want. So I think this branch is getting a little too long. I want to bring it back in so it can grow out into the silhouette that I want. So this branch is growing pretty vertical. I know I won't want that. Divides from 1 to 2 right here. I'll just go ahead and shorten this. I do have a bud right here that looks good, so I can prune back to there. Now right here it does divide from 1 into 3. So I think I'll go ahead and get rid of this thicker part, leaving these 2 branches here. And then I'll prune this one back, leaving 2 sets of buds. Now moving on to this branch over here, it's quite long. I'll remove this vertical piece. And then I have 3 branches, 1 to 3 right here. I think I'll get rid of this front one because this branch is growing on top of it. And then I think I'm going to remove this whole section right here. To get the tree more compact. So moving on up to this branch, it kind of swoops down and then goes back up. I want my branches that are in the apex to be more upwards growing. So I think I'm going to prune it back to this branch right here. And then I'll go ahead and shorten this one. Now moving on to this branch, I think I'll just go ahead and shorten that. I'll remove this one because it's growing towards the inside. Now moving on to this back part, I'll just shorten this. I have 2 branches growing from one spot right here. I don't really like the shape of this right here, this 90-degree angle right there. I think I'll keep it for now, but I just don't like it. But these 2 branches, this one could take over as a leader, so I think I'm going to prune this section off. It's pretty thick for being in the apex. So I'll prune that off. Now shorten this. I don't really like how this branch is coming down and going up, so I might just remove that. Just leave the one that's growing upwards. So that's about all I can do on my Trident maple this pruning. I got the tree much more compact, got rid of some branches growing in a bad direction, and I think the tree made an improvement today. I think once it leaves out and these growing tips start expanding, I think the tree will look good. So this tree does have a lot of scars on it. It's a Trident maple, so it has exfoliating bark on it, so in theory over time they should go away, but I mean, there's so many scars all over this trunk. It probably never will be a show tree, but I enjoy it. I enjoy working on it, so it just is what it is, I guess. But thanks for watching. Stay tuned in the spring to see what it looks like when it leaves out.